it's Patrick here from the Garageband Guide. If there's one thing that's missing from the latest version of Garageband, it's a dedicated compressor plugin. Now I know we have that dinky little dial in Smart Controls marked Compressor, but really that doesn't give me enough control over my sound, and I know a lot of you guys feel the same way. So let's dive in and check out these three compressors. First up, we have the Audio Damage Rough Rider. Now this is great for drums, some guitars and some vocals, but it's definitely not a jack of all trades type of compressor. It doesn't work well on everything, but what it does do is supercharge any drum loop you throw at it, giving a variety of results depending on how much you crank it up. As you can see, you have a full range of controls on the front of the Rough Rider. Be aware that the dials don't work maybe quite the way you think they would. For example, the ratio knob here, hard left is a 1:1 compression ratio. Hard right is a 1000:1 compression ratio. And dead center is a 10:1 compression ratio. So on the left is where you'll find all your quote-unquote normal settings, and on the right is where you'll find, as Audio Damage themselves put it, Atom Bomb Squish. Yummy. It's the same story with the rest of the dials here, so you'll need to use your ears to get some decent sounding settings. Now while there are some presets available to you, this thing really does warrant some experimentation. So go and get stuck in. Here are some examples of what you can squeeze out of the Audio Damage Rough Rider. Next up, we have this little gem from a company called Clanghelm, not to be confused with the German superhero of the same name. Now this is the DC1A2 from Clanghelm, and this thing is fantastic. Now don't let its simplistic interface and look fool you, there's plenty of power to play with here. Now this thing is great if you want something that just does the job quickly, easily, still sounds great. So let's have a look. You have a gain reduction meter up top here, which gives you a clear reading of how much compression you are applying to your audio, right up to a 22:1 compression ratio. Right here is the input gain dial. This controls how much squash you apply. So if I crank this, you'll see the compression ratio shoot up to around 9:1. This acoustic was recorded fairly quietly, so I'll probably want something around the 4:1 ratio area. The output dial, naturally, increases the outputted volume of your compressed audio. And you also have these buttons down the bottom here. The deep button switches on a inbuilt high-pass filter that stops the DC1A2 from messing with your low-end frequencies and your recorded audio. The relaxed button gives a more restrained compressor characteristic to your sound. Quite handy this, you can use it if things are sounding a little bit harsh or saturated after adding compression. The dual mono function will compress the left and right channel of a stereo track separately. So it's not really that handy unless you're going to be recording a lot of things in stereo, but it can make a difference, and it's worth giving this a little try to see how it sounds. And the negative button automatically changes the flavour of your outgoing sound by altering the compression curve. Now this adds a little bit of an aggressive character. It's good for adding a bit of edge to your guitars or a bit of grit to your drums, for example. So let's have a listen to the kind of sound that you can get from the Clanghelm DC1A2. Last but by no means least is the MCompressor from Melda Productions. Now I love this compressor, it's brilliant. You will not find a more fully featured and usable compressor for free out there. It actually comes as part of a freely downloadable plugin pack that you can grab right now from meldaproductions.com. I'll put the link down there in the description so you can check out at the end of the video. So let's dive in and have a look at what's what. So you've got your standard gain and output gain dials here, as well as attack and release controls too. Now this one's interesting. The RMS control will change the MCompressor from peak mode to RMS mode. In peak mode, the compressor will react to and compress any of your signal's volume that exceeds the threshold level that you've set. And in RMS mode, the compressor will still react to any of your signal's volume above the threshold level, but it will also measure the average level of that signal. That can result in a smoother and more dynamic sound in some cases. The threshold dial determines at what volume the compressor kicks in at, and the ratio dial controls how much of the signal that lands above the threshold level you've defined to compress and by how much. You can even apply a knee to your compression curve here, which changes the dimensions of the area between the compressed and the uncompressed parts of your audio. And another really useful feature is the maximize function that will boost the volume signal power to as close to 0 decibels as it can, which is really great if you're working with a weaker signal like I am here with this acoustic guitar track. Phew, okay, so let's have a listen and see how it sounds. And there you have it, 3 great free compressor plugins for you to get your grubby little mitts on. If you want to give these guys a try, then the links to all 3 of them are down in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, then hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe while you're there. And make sure you come and check out the GarageBandGuide.com for more great GarageBand tutorials. Bye for now.